Do you know what to do when somebody grabs your wrist? With good situational awareness, wrist grabs should never happen to you. If somebody's getting close enough to you that they can grab you, in my opinion, you're not practicing your self-defense, okay? You have to maintain that distance. But we all mess up because we're all too trustworthy, especially if we're Canadian, right? So 3 most common wrist grabs are same side wrist grab, cross grab, or hands up grab. Okay? All depends on what stage you're at and how threatened you feel. Tyson's not feeling too threatened right now. I'm grabbing him because I'm bigger, stronger. Maybe I'm throwing him punch, maybe I'm not. But his number one thing that he wants to do right now is fight the weakness in my grip. Okay, the weakness is it exiting out this way. So he needs to get his hand to the skinniest position because our wrists are oval and rip that guy out. But if he tries to do that right now, go ahead. He's going to get there, but that's going to require a lot of bicep strength, okay, and a lot of time. So, and then that whole time, you just smash him in the face, right? So what has he got to do? He's got to step off the line. Cutting angles is so important. So he steps out of the way. This also helps him to find a stance. Notice what he did well here is he kept his elbow in. The reason why he wants to keep his elbow in because his elbow is closer to his center. Because it's closer to his center, it forces him to use his whole body to turn. So he turns his body, boom. From here, because that back leg is loaded, and if he really felt threatened, he could fire that cross punch right back at me, right? So his training kicks in, hook punch, cross punch, now his wrist escape. So one more time, I grab, he steps, finds a stance, stance is good, he turns and he fires back. One more time, a little bit slower. So I'm grabbing, he steps to the side, he's here. Make sure that you can face your opponent. Tyson's spine should be facing my spine. Reason why that's so important is because when people don't do that, if he's out here, look, now there's space in between that elbow. We're just going to demonstrate him doing this. Try and turn now. It's much harder. The second that that elbow is closer to him, it's going to be a lot easier to make that happen. Okay, if you guys don't think I'm actually squeezing hard, look, his wrist is red, okay, because I'm actually holding on to it. I only like to teach things that work, so make sure you're practicing this with good resistance so you know that it works. The second technique, if he grabs here, you see a lot of the times of just this wushu, wax on, wax off, pushing motion, Mr. Miyagi. Yeah, it kind of works. The concept is right, but let's go into a little bit more detail. If I'm holding on to this and I'm either going to start pulling or pushing, that's a whole nother thing. Right now, build static awareness that your actual testing will work it. So first thing he's going to do is going to step forward with his left leg, almost like he's doing a lunge. The reason why he does that, if you go back, please, is you can see his center is changing. His center is getting lower. So the isometric point where I'm holding on to here, he's now dropping that down. Go ahead. Ideally, when he drops down, you can see his elbow to forearm to my wrist to my elbow to my shoulders in one straight line. So if I'm holding on to that for dear life and he uses his legs to push up, now there's energy going into my body. If I don't move and I don't hold on and he pushes up, now there's weakness, at least in my grip. So it's very important that he's using his legs to do this, especially if you're smaller than your opponent. You want to force your legs to do all of the work. Again, elbows in tight to the body. He should have his other hand up protecting himself. There you go. Okay, when he's doing this, what he's trying to do when he's pushing is he's pushing into the point he's feeling. That weakness is my shoulder joint. So as he pushes into that joint, you can see it's coming into me, changing my balance. Now from here, he has to turn again, left foot forward this time, lead hook punch, right, will force him to turn, right? If I'm holding on a little bit tighter, he's down, he's up, he's turning, and now he's using the hand to slap it away. When he drops down and he comes back up, as he goes to turn here, if I'm holding on tight, it's going to be hard. That's why we add in that little extra hit. You can hit with your palm. I recommend that a little bit, but the only thing I wouldn't recommend sometimes with the palm is if the fingers hit, it could snap the fingers. So if he made a fist and decided to hit with his forearm instead, go ahead. It's going to do a little bit more damage, and if he stays turned that way, now he has a chance to fire that cross punch and at least return some fire, okay? Because we don't know what they're going to do. So if his hands are up, typically we see a two-hand grab. Let's just learn it one hand right now. Is as I'm grabbing onto this, again, ideally he's in a stance. The reason why he always wants to be in a stance is it gives him a chance to turn his body more. He needs to get his elbow higher than my arm. So he raises the elbow up and he turns his body again hard and rapid. Okay, the harder that I hold on to it, go ahead, lift up, the more it's actually slow-mo, it's gonna come over it. Look, it's putting me in a wrist lock. That's what's actually making me let go of this, is if I hold on to that, it starts to break my wrist. Obviously, I don't want that, so I should be smart enough to let go. If he does it with his right leg forward versus his right leg back, nothing matters if I'm grabbing his right arm. It's learning to pivot and turn the body. Number one thing here, elbow high and turn. Okay, so we have 3 basic grabs. Now, if we start pressure testing it, we're going to pressure test by me just isometrically holding on hard. So I hold on hard, he steps, boom, he turns, and he's away, right? I go cross grab, he's down, he's up, he's turning, and he's either punching or getting away. His hands are up, I could double grab, he's going to rip it, boom, rip it. And again, we're doing pretty good. But as we know, people that grab, especially when using their side, they're grabbing and they're moving around. This is why it's so important. The first thing that Tyson has is I need to find a stance. So I'm going to start off at, say, 20% resistance. He finds a stance, go, 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 and he's out, right? His goal is to complete the drill. Notice how once he got a little bit more intense, he didn't throw that punch anymore. Again, now 40% resistance. I'm pulling. It's a little harder, but he's finding his stance. I'd actually say I was closer to 60. I can feel my fingers a little on that one. I go cross grab. Again, I'm pushing, I'm pulling, I'm messing with him a little bit. He didn't do the technique well. Okay? He got up to this point here, but he tried to move his body and he tried to turn his, but he still was able to get free. Our number one goal is to escape. A lot of people that love joint lock are going to know all of the amazing techniques here. But really, when it comes down to it, escaping is number one. His hands are up. Boom, I grab his hands, right? He goes to lift it up. I'm just staying with it. Notice what happened there. I grabbed it. He went to lift up. I followed it. It didn't work. He turned. He tried the other side. The other side went. Now I'm more worried about him throwing punches than anything. Thanks. When it comes to wrist grabs, train your footwork, get everything close to your center, and get away. Now you have a chance to use all your other martial arts training. Stay safe out there.